I'm Justin Thames, Director of Governmental Affairs for the Florida Institute of CPAs, and welcome to Impact Report, your weekly update on all things impacting the CPA profession here in Tallahassee. We've come to almost the end of this legislative session. We've actually got just 2 more weeks left at the end of week 7. We've seen a lot of action this week. A lot of the committees have met, and the House and the Senate have both been in full session on the floor, hearing bills. Of those bills that have been heard this week, we saw the Cpa Bill, as we refer to it, that deals with the licensure requirements under 473. We've mentioned this bill multiple times. It would create a retired CPA status. It also specifies the ethics requirements in the state. Also creates the CPE reciprocity with the exception of Florida ethics. So it's got multiple issues in the bill that we've been supportive of. Both Senator Gruters and Representative Stevenson have been pushing for this measure. The bill passed off the House floor this week and now heads to the Senate for them to be considered. The Senate version of the bill will be up on Monday in the Senate Rules Committee. We expect it to pass that committee as well. So we're nearing the end of session, and hopefully we could get that bill across the finish line and signed into law by the governor. In addition to the Cpa bill, the deregulation bills have also been moving through the process on the House side. Specifically, two of the bills that we've talked about specifically. One is the Sunset Act bill, passed off the House floor, is now being sent to the Senate, and the official deregulation bill also passed off the House floor this week and is headed to the Senate for them to consider. We expect those bills to pass both the House and the Senate and be signed into law by the governor. As I've mentioned already, there's minimal impact to the CPA profession in the dereg bill, mainly pertains to licensure by endorsement provision for CPE. And then on the Sunset Review Act, like I've said before, while the intent is not to specifically target the CPA profession, which is somewhat comforting, we are still going to be taking that process very seriously, and we look to maybe undergo that review process before the year 2023. Other bills we're continuing to monitor. There's a handful of bills that deal with the Department of Business and Professions that we have to watch for amendments. We're actually at a really crucial part of the legislative session where we see a lot more amendments that are filed to bills that we have to be vigilant about. And a lot of our committees that we work with at the FICPA are currently engaged in reviewing those amendments to make sure there's not a negative impact to the profession. So as we said at the beginning of session, we really appreciate all of our volunteers that work with us through the legislative session to do a deep analysis on these bills as they come along, because things move fast leading up to the end, and so we really need all the support we can get. We'll keep you updated on those issues through our bill tracker. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. In other news that I wanted to give you a quick update on, we mentioned the blockchain Taskforce. We had a representative from one of the big accounting firms come and talk about the implementation of blockchain as it related to in the governmental space. It was very well received. The FICPA was well represented in front of the blockchain task force last week, and so we feel very positive about that. The task force is trying to be extended through the legislative session this year. That will extend the work that they're going to do for the state, so we'll keep you posted on that. Also, there was a rules meeting with the Board of Accountancy this past week. They talked mainly about revising the definition of independence in the rules to really specify the independence requirements based on the individual engagements that CPAs do, and they make sure they follow those independence requirements. And they talked a lot about the null and void, reactivation of a null and void license. Those conversations are going to continue on during the next Board of Accountancy meeting, which will be in about 2 weeks. That's this week's update. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at govaffairs@ficpa.org. And thanks again for all the support. We couldn't do it without you.